Well, it's been a minute since I've recorded one of these, but ladies and gentlemen, you know why you're here. I know why you're here, and you're asking yourself that all important question: what just happened? And we end the night with some blood, a lot of blood, but AEW Revolution has ended. The immediate scrum is going on right now, and I'm here to tell you, well, what happened. So on the pre-show, we actually only had one match on 0 Hour, which is what they call the pre-show, and it was the team of Arya Davari, Josh Woods, and Tony Nese versus the Lucha Brothers and Mark Briscoe. And it was a good way to get everybody, get the crowd going, get them, hype. Can't go wrong with Mark Briscoe and the Lucha Brothers. This was a fine match, went about 10 minutes, and Mark Briscoe and Lucha Brothers won. Like I said in the High Rush Wrestling Podcast, it's going to be a minute before Mark Briscoe loses a match. But we move on to the first match on the main card, which is Chris Jericho versus Ricky Starks, and the JAS are all banned from ringside. And this was a solid opener. It took some time for it to really get going. It started out slow. Both guys were pretty evenly matched in the beginning until Jericho finally took control. Starks sold a lot. Like a lot. We got some back and forth deeper into the match, and the crowd was split because it's Jericho's Ricky Starks. But I have said time and again that I believe Ricky Starks will win the year as world champion, and the crowd was behind Jericho. The crowd was behind Ricky, but this was a 50-50 match. And then when it wasn't 50-50, Jericho dominated. But this was another major match for Ricky Starks. Sammy Guevara came out down until Action Andretti stopped him. While that was going on, Aubrey was paying attention to them. Jericho hit Ricky with Floyd, the baseball bat. He tried going for a Judas effect. Ricky blocked it, which is the first time we've seen somebody really block the Judas effect like the way he did. And he hit Jericho with the Rochambeau. 1, 2, 3. Ricky Starks is your winner. It's time for him to move on. And then the JAS can move from Ricky to Action Andretti. Next up, we had the final burial, Christian Cage versus Jungle Boy. This was a casket match, and then it would be buried, kind of dropped. It was originally supposed to be a no holds barred match. You all know that I fucking hate no holds barred matches because, well, they're just street fights. But these two did a fine enough job. They really beat the hell out of each other. And this was done well. Jack Perry, Jungle Boy, he needed a concrete, solid win, and he got that. They fought in the crowd a little bit. They fought in the ring, but once it left the ring and started moving up the ramp to the casket, man, it was just, man, it got violent. It got ruthless. There was a lot of blood on the show, and of course, they were bleeding. Christian, as always, was great here as the heel. Did a lot. Showed that he is very, very valuable and helped Jungle Boy look like a star. Jungle Boy murdered Christian with a concerto. That joint looked like it hurt. So now we see what's next for Jungle Boy. You might even be able to slide him into a quick one-off feud with our world champion. Next up, the Elite defending the Trios Championships against the House of Black. And ladies and gentlemen, this was nothing short of awesome. We knew that this match had the potential to steal the show. We knew that this match had the potential to live up to our expectations, and that is exactly what it did. Everybody got time to shine here, especially Brody King. It took a lot for the Elite to even get to Brody King, to even get to take him down. And then we got a couple one-on-one matches between Buddy and Kenny, and then Kenny and Malakai, and there was just kicks and knees and Meltzer drivers and dives 2023, all of that stuff. Everything was great, even the entrances with the House of Black coming out with the darkness and the shroud and Enjoy Your Heart is all done up, and then the Elite coming out with, Carry On My Wayward Son, holla at your boy, Sam Dean. It's great. And the House of Black win. We have new trio champions, but the aftermath of the match showed Kenny really being frustrated, really being upset. And he kind of did that, this past week with Takeshita. So I want to see where this goes. I want to see what they do with the Elite. They lost the Trios Championships after having that best of 7 series against the Elite, but now we get to move on. I want to see who's going to be the next trios champion to trios teams to actually challenge the House of Black. So if we're going with my predictions from our prediction show, which you should have watched and or listened to, I said Ricky over Jericho, got that right. Said Jungle Boy over Christian, got that right. Said the House of Black, got that right. Next up, the AEW Women's World Championship defended in a 3-way match with our champion Jamie Hayter defending against Saraya and Ruby Soho. And this was fun. This was solid. Like I said, I thought this match would be more of a way to move the story along instead of being like a full-fledged definitive winner, because this was a fine match. It went 10 minutes. I wish it would have got a little bit longer, and this was all about the character work of all the women. Jamie won with the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment, and everybody did their part, but I wish they would have got a little bit more. And part of me wishes that it was Tony instead of Saraya in this match, but this was fine. This was solid. There was some aftermath after the match. As soon as the match was over, Tony just elbowed the hell out of Britt, just knocked her upside her head, and then he started to attack in the ring. So Ruby is lost. She's like, what do I do? She throws out Saraya. She throws out Tony, and then, she celebrates with Ruby. She celebrates with Britt. She celebrates with the Jamie. Hits her with the moves. Hits the No Future. Hits the Destination Nowhere. And she's with the Freelancers, and they spray paint Britt and Jamie. I mean, why would Ruby team up with Britt? I'm just asking. Why would she ever team up with Britt? But this was fine. It's whatever. I want to see what's next for the division. I want to see what's next with the storyline. And I'm interested. I'm very, very curious. I really, 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 really believe that we're getting a women's War Games match. And there's still much, much, much more time to be dedicated to this. Next up, our Texas Deathmatch. And good goddamn, Hangman Page, Jon Moxley absolutely murdered each other. Like, destroyed. There was so much barbed wire. There was so much blood. And they were going for moves. They were pulling out buckshot lariats, dead eyes, suplexes on chairs. Oh, man. It was great. And the thing we wanted from this match was a definitive winner, and we got that with Hangman literally hanging Jon Moxley over the ropes with a chain. And like I said in the Friday Night Era, like I said in the Hybrid Wrestling Podcast, I think Hangman Page will be the next one in line to face, if MJF retains, face MJF for the championship. This was violent because I expected nothing left. Mox gets to go home and chill, finally get that damn vacation. But Texas Deathmatches rarely disappoint, and this one did not disappoint either. Next up, the TNT Championship, I believe. Yes, the TNT Championship between Wardlow and Samoa Joe. Big, mighty men slapping man meat. That's what we get. And this had a nice little pill. I feel like this should have been more. Every match can't have a stipulation on it, and this didn't need to. But like I said, I thought Joe would lose just because he can go and do things in Ring of Honor now while still being, he's the current Ring of Honor TV champion. But essentially, we gave Wardlow a statement win. He has that statement. He has that W. He's a new TNT champion. Now he has to defend the championship against Powerhouse Hobbs. So now our next question is, does Wardlow lose this on Wednesday? And then we start up a feud between Wardlow and Powerhouse Hobbs. We'll see. But this was fine. Wardlow choked out Joe. Wardlow put him to sleep. So two dudes that never tap out, Moxley and Joe, tapped out. A tap out is a definitive win. So now we move on to the Fatal 4-Way AEW World Tag Team Championship match between the Gunns defending against the Acclaimed, Danhausen, Orange Cassidy, and Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal. And you knew this match was going to have some shenanigans. Listen, the Gunns weren't going to lose. Everybody did their thing here. Satnam Singh got involved. Billy Gunn got involved. Sanjay Dutt got involved. Billy Gunn hit a famouser on Satnam Singh. So that's always impressive. But this was solid. It wasn't nothing to sneeze about. If you compare it to last year's tag team title match, which was the Jurassic Express defending against Red Dragon and the Young Bucks. This had a lot to live up to, and it didn't do that, but it was fine. So after the Gunns retain, they get interviewed by Renee Paquette. Gunns say they're the best, can nobody stop them, and then out comes FTR making their long-awaited return to AEW, and they brawl, and Dax is just already bleeding. All right, so looks like we got our next feud. FTR wants those belts. And in our main event, the AEW World Championship, Bryan Danielson, MJF, 60-minute Iron Man match. And boy, this was fantastic. I can't sit here and go over everything that they did because we would be here for an hour. But essentially what I wanted to know was, can MJF up his game? You're in the ring with Bryan Danielson. Can you up your game, good sir? And up his game that he did. For the first half of the match, there weren't any falls. There were none. So we moved to the end, and now it's 2-0 Danielson with MJF getting himself disqualified. And by the time we get to like the last 15 minutes, both dudes got crimson masks. They've been busting out all of the moves, all of the moves, and we end with a draw, 3-3. Tony Khan's not having any of it, so we go to sudden death. The first person to get a fall wins. And boy, MJF had a game plan. He stuck to that game plan. He wins. He actually taps out Bryan Danielson. So that's Bryan Danielson, Samoa Joe, and Jon Moxley all tapping out. What in the blue bloody hell? That, ladies and gentlemen, never happens. Ever. Ever, 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 forever, ever. So MJF retains. He wasn't going to lose. I don't think Tony Khan would have done such a quick trigger on his championship reign. So we see what's next for MJF. We see what's next for Danielson. We see what's next with the BCC, because 2 members of the BCC lost tonight. But I got all my predictions right. Sometimes predictions just happen like that. But that is AEW Revolution. I'm going to give the show a 6 out of 10. Maybe a 6.5. The 2 best matches were the Iron Man match and the Trios Championship match, with the Texas Deathmatch pulling up the rear. But that's the show. Thank you all for listening, for watching AEW Revolution. What just happened? And don't forget to check out the High Risk Wrestling Podcast every Saturday, wherever you get your podcasts, and on YouTube. I am your host, Jeremy Pierce. Peace.